Timothy Brennan's book primarily revolves around a detailed exploration of Rushdie's 4 novels: Grimus, Midnight's Children, Shame, and the Satanic Verses. This examination is guided by the initial 2 chapters, which establish crucial contexts for understanding Rushdie's work. These contexts include the role of fiction in contemporary nationalism, and conversely, how nationalism influences fiction. Additionally, the relationship between Third World literary cosmopolitanism and anti-colonial liberalism is explored. This approach allows the book to simultaneously position Rushdie as both a unique individual and a representative figure. It enables the book to establish and question the role of internationally renowned Third World writers in shaping post-colonial discourse. While some categorization strategies may lean towards being overly prescriptive, such as the provision of a 2-columned checklist of differences between postmodernists and Third World cosmopolitans, overall, this analysis presents an original and engaging exploration of a complex subject. Throughout his argument, Brennan indirectly suggests why the Rushdie affair captured the attention of both liberal and less liberal Western minds. The Third World cosmopolitan writers, with whom Brennan associates Rushdie, are characterized by their constant evasion of fixed national and ideological identities, which has become a defining characteristic of humane cosmopolitan writers from the Third World. One obvious result of this evasion is the translation of authorial ambiguity into a dualistic moral framework, where every group is assigned both a positive and negative expression. Brennan identifies this radical relativity as a governing principle of duality in much of Rushdie's work. This mode of translation inevitably leads to an ambiguous relationship with authority and tradition, and only a slightly more stable connection with an immigrant culture that lacks the former and strives to establish the latter. 20th-century English liberalism has often appeared, at one extreme, as nothing more than the refined high-mindedness portrayed by Forster, material that Rushdie criticizes as ripe for cinematic Raj revisionism, or at the other extreme, a form of Orwellian slumming. Brennan's portrayal of Rushdie, despite his outrage in the face of Thatcher's England or the Ayatollah's Iran, suggests that he cannot entirely avoid the pitfalls faced by well-intentioned political efforts, due to his gender and class. If there is a concern about the way Rushdie often depicts women, Brennan seems to find this issue ultimately less troublesome than the disconnect between Rushdie's refined upbringing, shaped by public school and Cambridge, and the experiences of the people, particularly those striving to find their voice within Britain's diverse black cultures. The former cultivates detachment, while the latter demands engagement. This issue is most directly addressed in the discussion of the Satanic Verses. Despite the distortions in media coverage, Brennan argues that the novel primarily centers on a very secular England. The offense taken by ordinary lower-class Muslims in India and Pakistan, along with those in the English cities of Bradford, Birmingham, and London, indicates, for Brennan, the class resentment simmering beneath the surface of an affair that has often been viewed solely through religious lenses. Brennan's own allegiances, as outlined in his earlier analysis of decolonization, which positions Third World cosmopolitanism in contrast to the work of pragmatic theorists like Antonio Gramsci, José Carlos Mariátegui, Amilcar Cabral, and Frantz Fanon, become more apparent towards the end of the final chapter. Here, Brennan adopts a Fielding to Rushdie dynamic, critiquing the detached and insensitive nature of cosmopolitan universality. While Rushdie contends that bigotry is not only a function of power, Brennan suggests that in the specific immigration and acculturation complexities of contemporary Britain, the central issue may not be solely one of human evil. The means of perpetuating this evil are evidently highly unequal, and the violence stemming from defending one's identity or livelihood as opposed to one's privileges is not equivalent. If this is indeed a truth, it's a perspective Salman Rushdie has likely been in a uniquely uncomfortable position to acknowledge, at least since February 14, 1989, compared to Timothy Brennan. Behind the occasional surface-level identification with the oppressed lies a serious and nuanced examination not only of Rushdie himself, but also of the paradoxes experienced by third-world intellectuals. These intellectuals may not be the most equipped agents to address the problem of our collective struggle to recognize the colonial perspective as one that truly matters,